Welcome to the Ethiopian World Federation New Members Orientation. We bring you good tithing from the throne of Ethiopia. Today you are taking your next steps towards your divine inheritance. It was His Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I that told us. History teaches us that unity is strength, and cautions us to submerge and overcome our differences in the quest for common goals, to strive, with all our combined strength, for the path to true African brotherhood and unity. We are here at this moment to fulfill our constitutional requirement. To promote love and goodwill among Ethiopians at home and abroad, and thereby to maintain the integrity and sovereignty of Ethiopia, to disseminate the ancient Ethiopian culture among its members, to correct abuses, relieve oppression, and carve for ourselves and our posterity a destiny comparable with our idea of perfect manhood and God's purpose in creating us, that we may not only save ourselves from annihilation, but carve for ourselves a place in the sun. In this endeavor, we determine to seek peace and pursue it, for it is the will of God for man. Now, please stand for the playing our national anthem.
Welcome to the Ethiopian World Federation Incorporated Nation Building Orientation. We declare and decree by our Declaration of Independence and emancipation by the divine imperial throne of Ethiopia that you are now an active member of the Ethiopian World Federation Incorporated, a foreign sovereign living man-woman. We present to you in our official capacity a notice of your nationality and diplomatic exemptions under 22 U.S.C. 288, 22 U.S.C. 252 as a public and spiritual minister. As our emissary mission is governed by the throne of David, the nation of Ethiopia, placing us as the nation of the Diaspora Region 6, which includes the many African indigenous nations in the diaspora and the indigenous Moorish Aboriginal Americans. Duly noticed as in all international standings of law is given. Foreign national standing is held in Public Law 94-583, October 21st, 1976, Stat. 2891 codified in Title 28 U.S.C. 1602 and Public Law 79-291, providing a standard for authorized acceptance of notice. This notice is given to inform of the official functions and lobbying, as the interest of this nation is being protected and administered through official international organization 22 U.S.C. 288 EWF Inc., Ethiopian World Federation Incorporated NGO. This notice stands as notice of extraterritoriality capitulations under the Treaty of Marrakesh, Treaty of Watertown, and the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights. Invoking of Executive Order 13107. Implementation of Human Rights Treaties issued by Bill Clinton on December 10, 1998. Therefore, let this also stand as notice of the African Union official designation of the Diaspora's 6th region, which we assert with the Maroon Treaty of 1739, and the United Nations acceptance of the political autonomy and economic freedoms of former slaves. We trust that this information has been useful to the participants and supporters. Once again, welcome to the Ethiopian World Federation Incorporated Nation Building Orientation. Now, a brief history.
Throughout history, it has been the inaction of those who could have acted, the indifference of those who should have known better, the silence of the voice of justice when it mattered most, that has made it possible for evil to triumph. A quote from the Emperor Haile Selassie. Now a brief history.
Rome. In a blazing radio address, Mussolini proclaims his decision: war. Despite the League of Nations, Italy will conquer Ethiopia. Addis Ababa. Haile Selassie protests to the League that the Italians have already invaded Ethiopia. So the Emperor orders complete mobilization. He marshals his hosts of fighting men to defend his frontiers. Movie Tone has already shown us the Ethiopians swarming north to Eritrea, and the massing of Mussolini's legions in Eritrea. And now the tribesmen are hurrying south towards Somaliland. We go by railroad across the Eyewash River to Harar, the southern war capital. The train rattles across desolate country the Italians will have to fight across. And then we come to a strategic river and bridge. An inevitable target for sky attack. It's the Eyewash River, but it will be no Eyewash when the bombers come. European diplomats leading the war-haunted country. This railroad is of vital importance, and so is the city of Harar. Metropolis of southeastern Ethiopia, it's a Mohammedan city in Christian Ethiopia. Lawrence Stallings and the Movie Tone Ethiopian Expedition film warlike scenes in this remote East African town. Modern trucks, American trucks, rush streams of soldiers to the threatened points of attack near Italian Somaliland. Johnny the Ethiopian is going to war and saying goodbye. The fever of war is burning in Harar. Boys play with guns. The women offer to fight beside their men. We find the Chief of Staff of the Southern Armies with Mohammedan minarets in the background. And he's a Mohammedan, a Turk, Wahab Pasha, Mohammedan fighting for Christian Ethiopia. Mussolini's generals will meet a soldier skilled in modern battle, veteran of the World War, a Turkish commander at the Dardanelles where the British were beaten, and he won 3 battles from the Russians. Haile Selassie was the hereditary governor of Harar before he became King of Kings. This land was conquered by the great Emperor Menelik, who beat the Italians at Adwa. He subjugated the native tribes of the Gallas and gave the province to Haile Selassie's father. The emperor orders every man to the fighting front, by motor truck and by camel. Haile Selassie, Lion of Judah, defends his home province. The emperor broadcasts an impassioned plea to the outside world to save Ethiopia from Italian conquest. The president of the Ethiopian parliament speaks, and an American radio man introduces the emperor, especially to America.
Hello, America. This is Addis Ababa.
Qu'il souhaite ardemment et qu'il leur est indispensable.
He defends his country's cause, calls upon the world to stop the war, and declares that Ethiopia is firmly for peace.
De l'an passé, le peuple éthiopien est fermement attaché à la paix, mais il est en même temps...
A nation praying for peace but ready to fight to the last. Rome deciding war. The League of Nations preparing to impose penalties. The clash of arms, the thunders of battle seem more terrifying, as at the radio station of Addis Ababa, the Emperor Haile Selassie pleads for peace.
Il assiste dans leur effort pour le maintien de la paix.
The city is crowded and uneasy, agitated by the approach of war. Even the traffic cop is tense and nerve-strained. Tribal chieftains, feudal lords, each with his armed retainers. The masked marvel, maybe he wears the mask because of the dust. Polite these lords of the tribes, saluting a fellow chieftain. A minor chief they call a shum with a small band of followers. A whole host of armed retainers testify to the power of a mighty noble, a Ross. The warlike barons of Ethiopia trooping into Addis Ababa, hot for battle, offering themselves to their emperor, Haile Selassie, King of Kings. No barbaric chieftain of the warlike tribes, he's clever, suave, wise, playing his country's game against a great European power and modern war machine. Religion inspires Ethiopia in its hour of peril. Great hosts throng for a ceremony of prayer. The emperor speeding to worship in his modern car, and they pray for victory in the coming battle. Streaming through the holy doorway to kiss the sacred wood according to the 1,500-year-old Coptic Christian rite. At the railroad station, terminus of her one lone railroad, French-owned, and the Lion of Judah. Affecting scenes, Italian families ordered to leave, and Hindu merchants and their families, too dangerous to stay. So it's goodbye to fugitives from the threat of impending war. Italian children must go, for Mussolini is about to attack. Refugees. Nobody knows what may happen when the fury of battle flames. Ethiopian fury against the Italiano. Jammed train loads. On their way to safety, taking the long trail, the crude Rattler Railroad Trail to the French port of Djibouti, all aboard for safety. The army makes ready to meet the thunderbolt of modern war. European trained officers with the military routine of the West labor swiftly to fortify for defense. Ethiopia, the land of tribes, digging trenches. They know that Mussolini is sure to launch his full power of war against the capital city of Ethiopia, so dig hard and dig fast. Rifle pits and riflemen against an onrush of bombing planes, tanks, machine guns, flamethrowers, and modern infantry. And the legions of the King of Kings are on the march. Cavalry with tribal spears and modern rifles, ready to face machine guns and heavy artillery. Ethiopia has its European-trained army, a modern nucleus for its hordes of primitive warriors. On they march, ready for war, trained for war, well-equipped too, but not with shoes. The bare feet of armed Ethiopia still tell of a nation deprived of modern war equipment, preparing to meet the latest machinery of death, the ultra-modern legions of Rome. Ethiopia marches to war. The outbreak of battle is expected at any hour. East African fighting men saying goodbye as soldiers always do. They stream to the line of danger. Their commander, a veteran chieftain of warlike tribes, General Habote Mikeli, a jovial chieftain, but he takes the post of danger. He commands the northern and eastern frontier, the border of Italian Eritrea. That's where the massed mechanized divisions of Mussolini are to hurl their first and most violent stroke. The Ethiopian Air Force ordered to the front, a handful of planes like this, to face modern air power. They're loading up with munitions and automatic rifles. The Ethiopian Air Force is not to fight sky battles with the Italian squadrons. It's only for communications and transport, to keep contact with the front lines like this. Kulaus, that's what they're called. Not in khaki uniforms, but in ancient native white. They're the night fighters of Ethiopia, the most dangerous and desperate battlers of the tribes. Prowlers of the darkness, killers of the dusk. The furtive attack, the secret ambush, the way of the night fighters. No motorized warfare for them. They take mules, sure-footed climbers to pack ammunition along mountain trails. The night-fighting Kulaus rush by train to the danger zone, the surest sign that Ethiopia believes the hour is at hand. Haile Selassie has been delaying national mobilization, hoping the League of Nations would enforce peace. But now the sun is bright, the sky is clear, the rainy season is over. The time has come for Mussolini's machinery of battle to drive into action. A grinning farewell. They know it bodes no good for the enemy that the night fighters are on their way. In his capital city, the Emperor Haile Selassie maintains his royal state with tranquil dignity. He visits an Addis Ababa automobile show as if his only worry were about buying a car. The boy beside him is a royal prince. American autos on display. That's Yankee enterprise, putting on a selling campaign in the city threatened by the swift, overwhelming blast of war, center of the world maelstrom. The only means of communication with the outside world is this radio. Strike it down, and Addis Ababa is isolated. And the Italians will try to strike it down at once. An instant target for the bombing planes will be this radio station. Here is where they radioed the Emperor's protests to the League of Nations. And right now, they're flashing Ethiopia's case to the powers of the world. They're talking about America, neutrality policy in Washington, declarations by Secretary of State Hull, American Charge d'Affaires Cornelius Van H. Engert. With him, the King of Kings discusses the American slant on the crisis. Because the rain clouds have gone, the war clouds are drifting near.
There is always something moving, brewing. There are ambitious people everywhere. Wicked people. The only thing to do is to deal with them with courage and decision. One must beware of uncertainty, weakness, or conflicting emotions. They lead to defeat. Emperor Haile Selassie.
The Ethiopian World Federation Incorporated was established in the United States in 1937. Its aims were to mobilize support for Ethiopia during the Italian invasion and to embody the unity of Ethiopians and black people at home and abroad. In many countries, the federation became increasingly identified as the sovereign government for the diaspora, which was ready to defend the empire of Ethiopia from Mussolini and his fascist aggressors. For this, His Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I granted we the black people of the world our own land, our own flag and our own constitution, solidifying the Ethiopian World Federation as a sovereign nation. The Ethiopian World Federation has succeeded where others have failed, because the Federation is a governing body for we the black people of the world. You asked what makes us different? We are the only organization in America started by the King of Kings, the conquering Lion of Judah, a direct descendant of the Solomon dynasty. We are not a company but a global government. We have members all around the world. We have our own land, we have our own flag, we have our own constitution, and we are determined to carve out for ourselves our place in the sun, which is our divine inheritance. On assignment from Emperor Haile Selassie, Dr. Malaco Bayan came to the United States in September 1936, where Harlem, New York City became his base of operation. Immediately, the young physician introduced a very valuable review, The Voice of Ethiopia, and soon established the Ethiopian World Federation. Dr. Bayan assembled prominent African Americans who devoted time and resources to assist actively Ethiopian patriots in action and to stand firmly in opposition to those who rushed to endorse fascist aggression against Ethiopia. The supporters of his cause included leaders like W.E.B. Du Bois, Reverend Lloyd Imes, Mildred Houston, Lorenzo King, and a cross-section of individuals and organizations in the Caribbean, America, and Europe. Dr. Malaco Bayan proclaimed that his organization was pledged to continue the struggle for the liberation of the entire black race, and he encouraged his collaborators never to slow down their efforts to dismantle Mussolini and his fascist soldiers and send them back home before they committed further destruction.
Democracy, Republic, what do these words signify? What have they changed in the world? Have men become better, more loyal, kinder? Are the people happier? All goes on as before, as always. Illusions, illusions. These are the words of His Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie, King of Kings, the conquering Lion of Judah.
This is a little graphic, but it is our reality right now. This is why we are here. We are here because something must be done. Alone we can do very little to change this, but together we can move mountains. Look at what we have survived and are still surviving all around the world. At some point we must say enough is enough. We the black people of the world are still surviving and living through police brutality. Our black men are incarcerated 5 times more than any other race or class. We have survived driving while black, shopping while black, eating while black, and even walking while black.
Why do we need the Federation? Because you, your parents, your grandparents, your children, and maybe even your children's children, have been or will be indoctrinated by the colonizers, feeding them and us years and years of the deliberate scripted misinformation with an effort to miseducate. This process of indoctrination confined the thinking of black children in schools to a dominant white perspective, philosophy, and worldview. Black children were receiving little to no instruction in the contributions of black Americans in the areas of science, technology, business, and in the true history of America. This is what happens when we allow the colonizers to educate our children. Our Constitution supports the re-education of black children all around the world.
Why do we need the Federation? Because everywhere in the diaspora there is an organized effort to keep us scattered, uncomfortable, and dependent on their system, which is designed to keep you in bondage while you are in exile. To keep you looking for somewhere you can live in peace while they enact laws, statutes, ordinances, and acts to keep those very freedoms away from you. The United States of America has always planned to create housing issues with the creation of red lining and housing projects. Our Constitution provides for economic relief in a time of crisis.
Why do we need the Federation? Because our black women are under attack. They too have been abused, physically and mentally. Our men have been snatched from our homes. They have tried to make women believe that we didn't need male partners, so that the women could be dependent on the very system that was designed for their demise. For every black woman who reports abuse, at least 15 black women do not. 1 in 4 black girls will be sexually abused before the age of 18. 35% of black women experienced some form of contact sexual violence during their lifetime, often because there is no male presence in the home. While our men are killed or incarcerated and left to die as property of the state, our women and children are dying for lack of proper mental and physical health care.
Why do we need the Federation? Because we as a people have been trained to be laborers. We have been trained to work to make the rich richer. We have been trained to be in a cycle of poverty, the deliberate attempt to prevent generational wealth. Money in all other communities have a cycle of life before it leaves the community. Jewish 23 cycles, Asian 16 cycles. In the black community, the dollar only stays for 6 hours. 1 in 7 white families are now millionaires. For black families, it's 1 in 50. The historical data revealed that no progress has been made in reducing income and wealth inequalities between black and white households over the past 70 years.
Why do we need the Federation? Because the news is telling us, the media is telling us, the lawmakers are telling us, the politicians are telling us, the police are telling us, and we hear them loud and clear. Now is the time for unification of we the black peoples of the world, in order to effect unity, solidarity, liberty, freedom and self-determination, to secure justice and maintain the integrity of Ethiopia, which is our divine heritage. Do hereby establish and ordain this Constitution for the Ethiopian World Federation, Incorporated.
A well-organized education should not be one which prepares students for a good remuneration alone. It should be one that can help and guide them towards acquiring clear thinking, a fruitful mind, and an elevated spirit. Emperor Haile Selassie.
Why do we need the Federation? Because the Federation reminds us that we are all Ethiopian. The Federation is designed to correct abuses, relieve oppression, and to carve out for us our own posterity. Our colonizers have tried to make us forget about our divine roots as Ethiopians and Ethiopia's ancient culture. So, His Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie set up an international government to address black people's concerns, all around the world. Our Constitution declares that the aims and objects of the Ethiopian World Federation, Incorporated, shall be, to promote love and goodwill among Ethiopians at home and abroad, and thereby to maintain the integrity and sovereignty of Ethiopia, to disseminate the ancient Ethiopian culture among its members, to correct abuses, relieve oppression, and to carve out for ourselves and our place in the sun as a self-determined people. The structure of the international government is as such. Its functions are handled by an International Executive Council. The International Executive Council governs and credentials our locals. Locals operate as states. Article 3 International Officers Section 2. Executive Council. There shall be an Executive Council composed of the elected international officers, together with 3 additional members elected by the Convention. Article 3 International Officers Section 1. There shall be the following international officers of the Ethiopian World Federation, Incorporated: A. President. B. First Vice President. C. Second Vice President D. Executive Secretary E. Treasurer F. Organizer and G. Chaplain. Now is your time to claim your divine heritage. Join a local near you and help to promote friendly interest among its members, to develop a fraternal spirit among them, and to inculcate in its members the desire to render voluntary aid and assistance to one another at all times. C. To usher in the teaching and practices of the fatherhood of God and the brotherhood of man. D. To promote and stimulate interest among its members in world affairs, and to cultivate a spirit of international goodwill and comity. E. To promote friendly interest among its members, to develop a fraternal spirit among them, and to inculcate in its members the desire to render voluntary aid and assistance to one another at all times. Why do we need the Federation? Because the Federation has given us the opportunity to build states called locals to handle the affairs of black people in different towns, neighborhoods, counties and continents, with specific committees prepared to take on a number of specific large issues. Article 7. Committees. Standing committees. The following committees shall be established. Section 1. Banking, membership, education, publicity, sick, ways, and means, information, auditing, complaints, and grievances, House Committee and such other committee, as shall from time to time become necessary, provided that such committees are approved by the International Executive Council. Why do we need the Federation? Because, besides committees, each local as various specialized units to address the members' needs. Article 9. Units. Section 1. A unit is a group within a local, which is required to perform certain specialized duties or tasks. The personnel of all units, appointed by the President, shall be subject to the approval of the Executive Committee. These are our units. A medical unit. B. Musical department. C. Youth department. D. Women's auxiliary. Why do we need the Federation? Because all financial members of the Ethiopian World Federation, Incorporated, shall be entitled to the benefits. Article X. Benefits. Section 1. Benefits. All financial members of the Ethiopian World Federation, Incorporated, shall be entitled to the benefits hereafter mentioned. A. All applications for help shall be referred to the Sick Committee, which may recommend aid according to the circumstances of the case. B. The Ethiopian World Federation, Incorporated, shall attempt to make or find employment for its members who make application for such employment. C. Death. The Ethiopian World Federation, Incorporated, shall establish a burial fund. Each member of the Ethiopian World Federation, Incorporated, in order to obtain the benefits of this burial fund, shall have subscribed to the fund for at least 1 year and shall be in good financial standing in the organization. Why do we need the Federation? Because no other organization in the world offers you the opportunity for diplomatic status, immunity from vaccinations, international credentials, member-to-member business opportunities, the opportunity to create financial freedom while working towards international unity among our black brothers and sisters. Member-to-member business trading platforms, members' social media platforms, international identification credentials plus medical immunity benefits.
Why do we need the Federation? Because, as we speak, we are under attack. We can wait to see what will happen to us. We can watch the news and get upset as we watch them do it to us. Or we can stand up and say, enough is enough, and start to make something happen. As we speak, a black man is being pulled out his car and being told to shut up and get on the ground. As we speak, a black person is being told that they are fired and can no longer feed their family because they wouldn't be vaccinated. As we speak, a black child is sitting in a school being told that there is no need for critical race theory, and slavery really wasn't that bad. As we speak, the prison bars are locking behind millions of our black men. However, as we speak, the Federation is rising. As we speak, black people all around the world are mobilizing. When we speak, it will always be the truth. The only thing that's missing now is you. Signing up is so easy. In 5 easy steps you could be an official member. Step number 1, just go to the website www.tewfinc.org. Step number 2, pick a local. Step number 3, click the join local button at the top right hand corner. Step number 4, fill out the application. Step number 5, click the submit button, and that is it.